Hello everyone, welcome to the R-Help video for homework 4 for STA 371G. Today we'll be going over making and using a model and removing rows. So first, to create a model, you use the generic format model name, which can be whatever you want. I like to call mine model followed by whatever number question therefore, equal sign or these two symbols, LM for linear model, y tilde x, data equals whatever the title of the data set is. So for example, let's say we have a set with cells as the y variable, number of salespeople working as the x variable, and data name equals data. As we can see, that's what we called the data set. So before you use it at all, you always need to run the model. It will appear in the top right, and not doing so will generate an error if you try to find the coefficients later. So to create the scatter plot, we want to use plot y tilde x or plot x comma y. This is different from the model where you always have to use y tilde x. The plot, you have two options. Let's go over each of them. So the first one is plot x comma y, the salespeople working comma the sales in thousands. Second one generates the exact same plot. We just use the other format. A way to double check to ensure you've done it correctly is to make sure the y-axis reads whatever your y variable is. This is a foolproof method to make sure you don't accidentally put the y on the x or vice versa. So the model isn't actually worth anything unless we can use it. So to use it, we'll need some data behind it. So summary, model name, or simply typing the model name. First, let's go over just typing the model name. As you remember, I titled my model, so if you titled it something else, you'll have to retype that. But just typing model gives you the coefficients. We have our intercept and the coefficient for the number of people working. We can also do summary, whatever the model name is, to get the coefficients in addition to more info like the standard error, the t-value, and your p-value, r-squared, standard error, among other things. It's important to know how to do both, so if the question is just asking for coefficients, you can find them in a simple format, but if it's asking for more information, you can use the summary function. Now let's say we want to predict the cells in thousands when 17 people are working. There are two ways to do this. One is we can look at our coefficients, 8.7462 and 0.8908, and we can use them in y equals mx plus b format to find our predicted value. Intercept plus x coefficient times 17, which is the value of x for which we're predicting. If we run that, we get cells and thousands are predicted to be about 23.89. We can also use the predict.lm function to get the same thing. You use predict.lm model name, comma, list, whatever the x variable is, equals 17 or whatever value we're trying to predict. If you run it, you'll notice it's very similar. The predict.lm function may be easier because you can change it for different models you're creating. You just have to change the x variable and then the variable you're trying to find. And it also doesn't round, which is why the variables are slightly different. The feedback. So to find correlation, you can use correlation x comma y or correlation y comma x. Correlation's a symmetrical property, so you'll get the exact same answer either way, so it doesn't really matter how you write it. Next, let's go over how to remove specific rows. So really what we're going to be doing here is creating a new data set without specific rows instead of removing the rows from an already existing data set. So if we have our old data set and we want to remove rows 2 and 5, we use the format new data set name equals old data name, which is data in our case, bracket -c row, comma, and then close bracket. So a little note is that this removes rows and not columns. So make sure you're removing what you're intending to remove. So let's look at our data set. We want to remove rows 2 and 5. The points are 412 and 1019. So let's say we want to title our new data set new.data so we don't get confused. If we run this, we now have a set called new.data. And if you'll notice, it has 2 fewer rows, and that's because we removed 2 and 5. We no longer have the points I specified earlier that were in rows 2 or rows 5. After you remove them, ensure you're using your new data set if you're trying to calculate a new model. Don't accidentally calculate the same one by using the same data set. Let's do a little example of this. If we copy and paste our model command, we can just change it to data equals new.data, and now we've created our new model with our new data with the rows removed. I hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching.